Welcome back to a abbreviated version of Locked On Illini. Well, word has officially leaked out that it looks like the Texas Longhorns are moving on from Rodney Terry, their head coach of 3 seasons. Rodney took over for the Longhorns. He essentially took over for Chris Beard and then made an Elite Eight run. Now, what does this have to do with the Illini? This is Locked On Illini, focusing on Illini athletics, right? Well, when Texas job is open, one name always is going to pop up on those big boards, and that's going to be Brad Underwood. And I actually discussed this potential opportunity between Brad Underwood and that Texas Longhorns job on a segment earlier this week on Locked On Illini. So what I wanted to do was just do a quick replay of that segment. I want to hear your thoughts and just keep up to tabs. If I hear anything, I'll definitely let you know. But otherwise, enjoy the segment. And welcome back. Make sure if you're not subscribed already, and also hit that like button while you're here. You're watching anyway, so why not? Find me on all your favorite social medias, Locked On Illini. I love having and enjoying conversations with this community, which continues to grow by the day. And as evidence with what I'm about to tell you, it's a way for you to tell me what you want to see on the show. What's interesting is when the brackets came out, I had no less than 4 of you on various social media ask me whether I'd heard about these Brad Underwood to Texas rumors, and if there was any validity to it or anything like that. And I always find this interesting because I feel like there's 2 schools that Brad is always connected with, and that's Kansas State, of where he's an alum, and Texas. And Texas mainly because that's just one program that hasn't been able to figure it out. It's one of those sleeping juggernauts, which truly it is. If Brad Underwood was 10 years younger, I think it would be a perfect fit. But if we're being real about it, people ask me, is the Texas job better than Illinois? And this might upset some of you when I say that I think in a vacuum, yeah, I think it is. But I think that the Texas job, both for football and basketball, might just be the best in the entire country. And of course, now me living in Austin and about 20 minutes away from campus, I feel like a little more confident in my stance because I've seen the type of people walking around. Take a look at their football official visits. There, you can literally look at pictures of Lamborghinis being lined up, and that if Texas is involved, NIL is involved, and if NIL is the main focus of any football recruit, well, then there's a good chance that they're going to be a Longhorn. But what does that have to do with basketball? I would argue, and I'd love to hear your feedback and your opinion, that being the basketball coach at a school like Texas or being the football coach at a school like Kentucky is the best of both worlds. Because at Texas, you're going to have a chance to get all that NIL money. Texas, if they wanted to, I think they could have the highest NIL around. But the thing is, most of the attention with the Longhorns is on the football program. A place like Texas, if you finished with 5 straight tournament seasons and 5 straight 20-plus win seasons, as he's done at Illinois, you'd be regarded as a hero. There'd be no issues. Nobody would be complaining about you. Here at Illinois, there's people who want Brad Underwood gone. And it's because our fan base is so incredibly passionate about our basketball that even when you're completely rebuilding, even when you're replacing 10 guys on your roster, on that down year, what everyone knew was going to be a down year, a rebuilding year, you win a minimum of 21 games. You go 12 wins in the Big Ten Conference. Overall, I would consider that a successful season. But maybe not the majority, but at least the loud minority don't and are ready to move on from Brad. And, it's different, of course, because he hasn't won the national title, and that's the ultimate goal, which I totally understand. But, there's still time. Brad Underwood's kind of at the age now where he's older, but he's not quite old. Would he be interested in Texas? Should Texas be interested in him? I think Brad Underwood's agent is interested in Texas. And if his agent is doing his job the way he should be, of course he should be leaking Brad's name for that Texas job. Brad's already a highly paid head coach. I believe he's top 10 in the entire country. But it's your job and your due diligence to your client to constantly want to upgrade that salary. Whether it's a good fit or not, I'm not so sure. I think if I'm Brad, I don't know if I want to go through a rebuilding phase again. In particular, it would not be good news for Illinois, just with this new revenue sharing that's going to start taking effect starting next season. It's just going to be a chaos trying to replace your whole roster because you assume if Brad would leave, a lot of the players would leave, et cetera, et cetera. It's not something Illinois would want to necessarily deal with. And I don't know if Brad is ready to take on a job like Texas now at this point in his career when he's so close with Illinois. I mean, he's been here for so many years now. He's got to set the cusp, right? He's got us to the Elite Eight last year. In my opinion, we were one of the 4 best teams in the country. We ran into what I consider the best team in college basketball over the last 4 or 5 years, that UConn Huskies team, which had 3 NBA players on it, just a supremely talented team coached by who I consider the best coach in all of college basketball. And in this rebuilding year, Illinois is a team that's talked about as on the cusp, one of the teams with the highest ceilings. And they've been talked that way all season long. I think Brad knows that, next year with hopefully Trey White coming back, Kylan Boswell coming back, Morez Johnson, Tommy Avicic, those guys coming back, next year's floor, in my opinion, is going to be considerably higher than this year's was. I've said since game 1, and my everydayers in here know this, that this season was going to be a roller coaster ride. Just because of the circumstances, because of the context. And in this case, I've been proven to be true again. You've had your highs and highs, and I think we've been as high as 11 in the country this year, and you've seen us drop out of the top 25. It seems like every time Illinois gets some attention, they trip up, they fall out of the top 25. And now here they are before that Maryland game, becoming everyone's sneaky pick yet again. Next year, I don't foresee the same problems. I do know that the staff are going to make retention an absolute priority. Now, which guys, I don't know, but I do know that they don't want to deal with what they just, the process that they just got over. They don't want to replace 9 guys again this year or 10 guys again this year. Now, does that mean a guy like Ty Rodgers is going to change his mind and come back? I don't think so. I'm just being completely honest. But, conversations will be had about Kylan, Trey, Tommy, Morez, Jake Davis, all these sort of guys. I do think there's going to be a focus on bringing the core of this team back. And when you can surround that core of veterans with 1 or 2 NBA players, future lottery picks, just like he just did with Kasparis and Will Riley this year, I think next year's team is going to be very special. I've said that before. I knew this year's team would be good, but I've said for a while now that I think the 2025-26 team has a chance to win a national championship. And quite honestly, my opinion has not changed. Again, I don't put much weight into these Brad Underwood to Texas rumors. I think it makes sense because of his past history with the state, but I don't foresee it happening. I think right now, if it is being leaked by anybody, it's more so by the agents involved. I don't know if it's really coming from Texas. If I'm Texas, of course, I would consider hiring him because he's got a proven track record everywhere he goes. And, while I say Brad may not want to rebuild, this day and age, you may not have to rebuild, right? With all this NIL, and in particular with Texas, that I'm just got finished talking about, you can reload a roster in a year or 2. Heck, he just did it here at Illinois. So, it's one of those where, if I'm Texas, of course, I'm throwing a Briggs truck at him. But, without a lot of postseason success, he's just had that one Elite Eight run. Is it worth Texas to make him a top 3 paid coach in the country? And in that regard, I don't know. And I'm a Brad Underwood supporter. I'm pro Brad, still pro Brad. But if you take a look at his resume, top 10, okay, fine. But even then, I understand that he's got to, at some point in the next year or 2, really start producing more, not just Sweet 16s, but runs to the national championship. But at top 3 salary, well, now the pressure's on. And I know Texas can afford it, but does Brad really want to deal with that, especially when he's just so close here at Illinois? Thank you for watching that clip from one of our recent shows. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and watch the full episode. It should be right here on this channel. Better yet, if you are a fan of the Illini, make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Illini. I produce content for you daily. That's right, every single day right here on Locked On Illini. Tell your friends, and I'll see you next time.